Around 10:30 in the morning, I had with a cup of plain coffee some scrambled eggs, both of which my mom prepared. I worked at Wegmans from 2:30 to 7 p.m. I took my one and only 15-minute break today around 6 p.m. rather than around 6:30 p.m. according to how I usually plan taking my breaks for my shifts at Wegmans. I took my 15-minute break earlier as a male coworker requested that I do so, as he was closing with me tonight. Though that's only on a technicality, as the produce department only closes at 8 p.m. Not at 7 p.m., though today nobody was scheduled to have a shift end at 8 p.m. I recall we started closing, me and the male coworker, around 6:20 p.m. For the process of closing, the male coworker had me restock a cardboard box of iceberg lettuce, another wax paper box of celery bunches, for celery bunches, I always ban them when restocking them. Ever since figuring out how to do so without breaking any sticks of the bunch, for which I put the band on bottom first rather than top first. The top being where you'll find the end of each stick on a celery bunch. When I restocked the heads of iceberg lettuce and the bunches of celery and 2 small paper boxes of 10-ounce plastic baggies of shredded lettuce, I was given a cart different from the one I designated as mine for. Today, iceberg lettuce and celery is restocked on the bulk wall of the produce department, whereas the baggies of shredded lettuce are restocked on the convenience wall of the produce department. The bulk wall is on the right side of the produce department, while the convenience wall is on the left side, from the perspective of standing in front of the banana section of the produce department, which is what I primarily restocked today, along with the hard items section of the produce department, which is where you'll find various onions and potatoes. Standing at the front of the banana section being at the very back of the produce department, and looking towards the front of the produce department, which I recall going to at one point around the middle of my shift to restock two square wooden crates full of pre-husked corn. One wooden crate for each little section, primarily pre-husked corn for the summer season, but behind the pre-husked corn there were also some side laid small wooden barrels, some of them with 1 bag of salt potatoes. I recall at 2 points, one at the very beginning of my shift and another point, I would say around 5 p.m. The same male coworker I close with, for which I just had to put on black plastic mesh tarps, solid tarps with no air holes, typically associated with plastic mesh, but I would still describe those tarps as meshy. As the surface is mildly uneven for those tarps, I got them over the potato products of the hard items section of the produce department with about a minute or so to spare before the end of my shift today. At those 2 points I mentioned earlier, I helped that male coworker to restock some watermelons on two sections dedicated for regular watermelons. Technically not part of the produce department, as they're more displays for the entrances to the main part of the supermarket and the transitional area of the supermarket before you reach the parking lot. At this transitional area, you'll typically find the shopping carts, unless they've recently been used, a Coinstar machine, and some limited merchandise. I recall historically in that transitional area seeing essentially trail mix, plastic jars of peanuts, and cardboard cases of sparkling water, aluminum cans of various flavors of typically fruit. The watermelons came in big octagon cardboard containers and a pump jack was used both times to lift the watermelons in the container roughly 4 inches off the ground while the container was on a wooden pallet. At my mom's place, I recall naturally waking up around 10 in the morning after falling asleep around 5:30 in the morning. At around 1 p.m., my mom drove me to the Wegmans I work at. After my shift, I got 3 aluminum cans of True Power, which is by the same brand as the aluminum cans of True Energy I have at my dad's place, though instead of being orange mango flavored, these True Power aluminum cans are watermelon flavored. I got 3 right after my shift at the same Wegmans. My dad picked me up and drove me to my mom's place to get my laptop case from there and a reusable Wegmans bag with primarily clothes inside of it. And the same pre-made by Wegmans chef salad I had around 7:30 p.m. with a glass of whole milk in a different plastic glass from what I used now. I uploaded the June 10 my dinner video to my YouTube channel around noon before my mom drove me to the Wegmans I work at. And when I got back at my dad's place, I worked on editing the June 11 my dinner video in Camtasia 2019, though as of now, I haven't finished that editing, as I recall being tired roughly from 8 to about 10:30 p.m. and laying in bed in my room at my dad's place. Here's where I am currently on Oceania.